Hello everyone and welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. I'm Will Schick and today we have an awesome unboxing day for you of super fun. We're going to be unboxing the next characters to be releasing for Marvel Crisis Protocol. I have myself a Thor and Valkyrie, and as a special bonus treat I also have a Loki and a Hela. So we're going to go ahead and crack those open here. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you guys have been having a lot of fun in this new year with the Marvel Crisis Protocol. These characters are going to be releasing in February because I know that question is going to get asked right away. So we're looking at a February expected release date for these guys. I don't have a day yet. When we do, we'll definitely let you guys know. But you can expect these guys in a couple of weeks as far as February goes. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start with Thor and Valkyrie because why not? They're lower on the CP number. So yeah, so here's the box. It's very exciting. I know nobody really cares about the box itself. You want to see what's inside the box, but we're going to look at the box. We're going to appreciate the box. We're going to enjoy the box. A lot of people work really hard on the boxes. Gani knows.
That's true.
He's just nodding his head. He's just nodding his head. All right, so let's crack open this bad boy. So we'll start, of course, with the plastic frames. These are the most important part because this is how you're going to get your characters. So we have our classic bases. Right there, you get a selection of 4. Here is the mighty Thor. So really great miniature, beautifully sculpted by Michael Jenkins. As I drop it, I'm just gonna throw it around. It's fine, it's safe. Shh, don't tell Josh. Yeah, so really great character, a lot of fun to put together. I actually painted mine at PAX Unplugged. So if anybody visited Dallas and I while we were out at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, you would have seen my Thor getting worked on, and I have not yet put him on the table yet. Hopefully we'll remedy that in the next week. And then we have Valkyrie. We went with the Brunhilde version of Valkyrie, so the very classic Valkyrie that most people know and love who've been reading comics for a while. Valkyrie's such a fun character. She's been an Avenger, she's been a Defender, she's been all over the place, man. And she just really whoops ass, which is great. So, and we got a lot of really cool detail. Funny story about when we were sculpting her. Everyone was kind of shocked that she had skulls on her knee pads. I don't know why, because we literally picked art that had skulls on the knee pads, but it was one of those moments where we're like, huh, what do you know? So, all right, so let's get to the cards. This is the exciting part. This is the part everybody wants. We're gonna save the character cards for last though, just because.
I know I'm the most excited about that.
Are you the most excited about this?
Well, that's
all right.
what I got to work on.
It is the part that you did get to work on. So we have the affiliation. Thor releases, kind of marks out as the leader of the new affiliation. So we have the Asgard Affiliation. So we have Thor, Prince of Asgard, Hela, Queen of Hell, Loki, the God of Mischief, Valkyrie, and Angela, which is a little bit of a teaser there for folks. But that is the current Asgard Affiliation as it stands for characters that are both coming out in February and coming out in the future. You're going to get one crisis card. This is an extraction crisis in the box. This is probably my favorite crisis card that we've done to date. It's the one that I often have to stop myself from picking whenever we play playtest games because I love it. One, it's based off of a storyline in the comics that is probably my all-time favorite story arc, which is Fear itself. And then number 2, you know, in Marvel Crisis Protocol, there's a lot of like wham bam action where you're beating each other up, and this crisis just really amps that up to 11. So, see, Pagani can't even talk right now. He's just laughing. He knows it's true.
It's really true.
Let's see if I can get this closer so people can like see it and not have a glare. I don't know if I can do all those things. You'll have to.
I'm not sure we're going to get a good focus that close. You know, back it up a little.
Oh, you just tell me. You tell me. You can see the screen. Yeah. I can't.
Keep backing it up.
I mean, now I'm back where I was before. So I'll just read it.
I don't know if we're going to get there.
So for setup, again, it's an extract. So you're going to place down asset tokens. You're going to place 4 Celestial Hammer assets as shown on map D. Players are going to score 1 VP for each Celestial Hammer held by a character they control during the cleanup phase. You can obviously interact to pick up a Celestial Hammer. The cool thing about the hammers, though, is that characters add 1 die to their attack rolls for each Celestial Hammer they are holding. When a character plays a Team Tactic card, they must pay 1 additional power for each Celestial Hammer they are holding. So if you manage to get a character with all 4 Celestial Hammers on it, it's going to be rolling 4 additional dice when it makes attacks. So this makes Hulk even scarier. It certainly beefs up Thor. It can even make a Black Widow just a terrifying combatant. The trade-off is that, you know, as you hold these evil, basically Mjolnirs, for those who know the story, you're going to become less like a team player. You're probably going to have, a little bit of disagreements with your friends. But yeah, this, again, it's a really great crisis. It's so much fun. And it just amps up the whole character damage crazy. So we'll move on to the tactic cards. We have 2 team tactic cards in this set. We have Thunderwave and we have Odin's Blessing. So we'll start with Odin's Blessing. This is the big one. This is an Asgard Affiliation card. So requires the Asgard Affiliation to be played if you're going to use it. It is reactive. It says when an allied Asgard character would be damaged by an enemy effect, they may spend 3 power to play this card. Reduce the amount of set damage suffered to 1. So this is a huge swing that you can use to basically protect your really high investment cost characters like Loki, Thor, Hela, because when the dice roll really hot, you're going to take a lot of damage. You're just like, nope, Odin's Blessing, I'm just going to take 1. Let's continue on with our day. So really good once per turn or once per game kind of cheat death in certain circumstances. Blah, I can't talk. So the next one is Thunderwave. This one's going to kind of remind people a little bit, I think, of Ricochet Blast, but we know that the Avengers really like to combine their powers and team up together. So we wanted to give Thor and Captain America a really fun way to interact on the table when they're both in the same squad. So Thunderwave is unaffiliated and it's active. If it is Thor, Prince of Asgard's activation, and he is within range 1 of an allied Captain America, they may spend 2 power each to play this card. Well within range 1 of Captain America, Thor, Prince of Asgard, may use the Thunderwave attack shown above once. Range and line of sight are measured from Captain America instead of Thor, Prince of Asgard, when making this attack. So this does cost you an action, just like Ricochet Blast does, but it allows you to basically use the attack that's listed on the card once during your activation as Thor. Thunderwave's pretty cool. It's a beam 5, so that's pretty huge. You line them all up and knock them down. Strength 6, and its power cost 0, and it is an energy attack. So it's a great way to deal with scenario or objectives where you've got a bunch of characters lined up, and you can get multiple enemies hit with the same attack. Strength 6 is no joke. Not the most powerful thing ever, but definitely pretty strong. And of course, you can always combine it with other things like 1-2 punch if you really want to amp it up. So it's pretty good.
I want to know how you 1-2 punch with a thunder wave. Is it like the wave comes past and blows them away, and then you punch them as they fly past?
Yeah.
Excellent.
What happens is that the thunder wave happens, and then Black Widow claps next to it, and it's just it's butterfly wings. It completely exponentially amps up the whole damage. That's how it works.
Fantastic.
I know. See, we've got science on our side. Before we go to the big payoff, we'll go ahead and take a look. You're also going to get token sheets. So you see we have our 4 celestial hammers. That's great. We also have some new status effects. These are the shock status effect, which are listed in the core rulebook, which is online. But this set, I believe, introduces shock for the very first time. So shocking enough, the God of Thunder can shock people. Of course, we have your affiliation, just general status tokens, so you can use these to track whatever. I love using them to track my VPs when I'm playing games and I'm playing an affiliation. But you can use them also for any card effect that you might not have a specific token for. And of course, we got some stagger icons. A couple more staggers because there are a couple of effects in this set that do cause stagger.
Really just the one, I think.
Really just the one.
It's a pretty good one, though.
It's a pretty good one. It's pretty good. All right, should we start with Valkyrie or Thor?
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie?
Save the best for the middle.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like Valkyrie's pretty darn good. I mean, I've watched and been and seen it happen where she's just rolled over me.
That is true.
All right, so Valkyrie. Brunhilde. Stat line, she is a 3-threat character. So she fits right in kind of the middle line of all the characters. Stamina 6, she has medium movement, she is size 2. Her defenses are pretty much average across the board at 3 physical, 3 energy, and 3 mystic. So she's not the toughest character in the world in terms of being physically, energy, or mystically resilient, but she definitely has really solid stat lines when it comes to it. Her basic attack is a strike, it's physical. Range 2, strength 5, because she's got that Asgardian might, and power cost 0. After this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. So pretty straightforward. Her second attack is Dragon Fang. This one is the big boy, so it's the one that she spends power for. It's range 2 as well, because she is a kind of a close-in melee-focused brawler. So range 2, strength 7, power cost 3. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains the bleed special condition. So she's going to be handing out bleed to the targets that get attacked by Dragon Fang. And then she has this nice little effect that we've seen on Okoye, which is Wild Flurry. So after this attack is resolved, this character may make a strike attack. The really cool thing about this is that, of course, when you make your strike attack, because it's strength 5, you'll probably wind up doing some damage and you're going to gain power back. So if you set it up just right, the turn that you live the dream, you're going to be able to Dragon Fang twice, Flurry twice, make 4 attacks. It's amazing. Pagani's like looking for his mic, so he doesn't get to say anything now. He's out of luck.
I especially like it with Warrior of Legend.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's at the bottom of the card. So moving down the card, we get to the superpowers. So the first superpower is active. It's Asgardian Might. This is a cost 2 throw, basically. So choose an interactive terrain feature or enemy character, both of size 2 or less and within range 2, and throw it short. The superpower can be used only once per turn. We also have another active ability, which we've seen before on Baron Zemo and Killmonger. This is Charge, so this costs 2 power. It's an action. This character immediately makes a move action followed by an attack action. This superpower can be used only once per turn. So again, really great for setting up the dream with Dragon Fang, getting those flurries off, doing strikes, really maximizes kind of what she wants to do, which is get in close and beat your face in. And then we have what Pagani just mentioned. This is the real sauce right here. It's an active superpower called Warrior of Legend. During the next attack made by this character this turn, it may change 1 die to a hit for each wild or crit in its attack roll. So you can do some pretty crazy stuff here with the dice rolls and all that good stuff. And it is power cost 2. And last but not least, we have an ability that you're going to see repeated on all of these characters, which is an innate ability called Asgardian. During the power phase, this character gains 1 additional power. So every Asgardian character is going to start the round with 2 power, which is pretty cool when you consider that all of Valkyrie's powers are cost 2, and her big attack is really just a 3. So you're going to see the Asgardians really able to do a lot of stuff and do it very consistently because of that power. If we flip her over to her back, you're going to notice that the only thing that really changes here is her stamina. Her stamina goes from a 6 to a 5. So she gets a little easier to KO after being dazed, but otherwise all of the abilities and the attacks are identical. So Valkyrie, a really solid 3-point like offensive damage dealer, has some great durability. The throw is super nice. We really wanted to like focus on the fact that Valkyrie in the comics and in the Marvel Universe is a very powerful melee individual. She's been trained by the Masters. She leads the Valkyrie, if that's how you say that word. It's a crazy, like, there's a lot of R's and I's in it.
I'm not sure.
Pagani's no help here. But yeah, so she's the leader of the Valkyries, which just means that like she is not one to be trifled with, and she's even subbed in for Thor in certain comics when he's been out of action on the Avengers as kind of their token Asgardian, and the person who comes in and beats face, well, he's not around to do it. So I'm very excited about Valkyrie. She fits in a lot of really great squads, is a great addition to the roster, and functions really well, obviously, in Avengers and in Asgardians as well. So here we go. Thor, Prince of Asgard. This is why everyone showed up, right? I mean, really, everyone showed up for Loki. They just didn't know it at the time. That's the real truth. I mean, it's tricky. I could probably just throw this card to the side. We could just move on to Loki because that's the important one. So Thor, big bad Thor, Prince of Asgard. Knew we had to do him right. So obviously threat 5 right out the gate. He was going to be one of the big hitters. Definitely one of the ones that everybody was looking forward to. So much fun to play. Let's go through his stats. So we have a stamina value of 6. He's move medium. He's size 2. Again, threat 5. So he's one of the big boys. Physical defense of 4, energy defense of 4, and a mystical defense of 3. Loki gets the better of him quite a bit, so we knew that the mystical defense had to be kind of lower for him because he gets tricked a lot, and he kind of struggles against his brother's magic until he overcomes it in the end because he's always the good guy. So for attacks, we have his strike attack. This is a range 2 physical. It's strength 6, power cost 0. After this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. So again, a very classic kind of strike. This is how he builds up his power. But this is the cheeky part. It has wild throw. This is on his basic attack. He can just throw people around with his basic attack. It's nuts. So wild throw before damage is dealt. If the target character is size 4 or less, so if you're Hulk or smaller, this character may throw it away short. So this is huge. Like it's crazy. Not only is he hitting at strength 6, he can basically throw the world as long as he rolls that wild, get the extra damage, get the collision damage. Like, he can clear fools out, and it's amazing. We then have his second attack, which is Hammer Throw. This is another physical attack. This is range 5, strength 5, and its power cost 1. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains the Shock special condition. So it doesn't require a trigger, doesn't require damage, it just happens as long as you're targeted by this attack. And for those who might not remember, Shock is a special condition that says if you're affected by Shock, you roll 1 fewer attack dice. So Shock is a great way to weaken those big bruisers that you're kind of afraid of, make them spend an action to clear the status effect or otherwise roll 1 fewer die, which can be a big deal on a lot of these attacks depending on the defense and attack values. Last but not least, we have his big daddy attack. Has no special rules, doesn't need any. It is an energy attack called God of Thunder. This is an area attack 2, so it targets every enemy character within range 2 of Thor. It's a strength 7, power cost 6. So this is the one where everybody gets around Thor to try to beat him up, and he just clears them all out. There's nothing else to say about it. It's an amazing attack, and it's crazy. Super high cost and power, but again, remember he's an Asgardian, so he's generating 2 per turn. He's also got a strength 6 strike, so he's not really ever starved in the power game.
He's not. Significant. Like this attack doesn't have a text box, but it really doesn't need one.
It doesn't. I've watched it like wipe entire squads just off the face. Like they all get dazed because they got too close to Thor. All right, so Thor is the leader of the Asgard Affiliation, so he does have a leadership. His leadership is Prince of Asgard. This one's pretty cool. It's a utility kind of leadership that's really great when you need it and kind of, just there when you don't. But at the start of each of your turns, one allied character may spend 1 power. If they do, remove 1 damage or 1 special condition from that character. Each allied character may use this leadership once per round. So the really cool thing about this is it doesn't have to be your activation to use the leadership benefit. Thor can activate, Hela can use it, Hela could activate, Loki could use it. You just can only use it once per round. So this allows you to kind of react if your opponent lays a special condition on a character, they haven't gone yet, you can have them get rid of the special condition, or you can heal a character if you happen to need that extra healing or have power left over after they've activated.
My favorite use of it is removing stagger right before I activate a character.
It's pretty legit, yeah. If you can pull that off, you've won the game. And again, this leadership applies to everybody in the squad. So like Hulks and all that, they can do it. They can benefit from this leadership as well. Makes Hulk a much bigger contender as well, since you can't stagger him any more effectively. He'll always have that power to basically shake those really nasty conditions. We then have an active superpower for Asgard. This is power cost 3. It is an action, so he does have to spend an action to use it. This is basically a souped up charge. So one of the things that we noticed in playtesting and just talking about the character is that, again, Thor really wants to get in close and he wants to beat people up. That's kind of what he does. So he wants those actions to be spent on making attacks. And so we wanted to give him kind of a way to kind of circumvent the fact that a lot of his attacks are close range outside the hammer throw. So we came up with this kind of like cheeky charge version that really emphasizes kind of the might of Thor and his overall power to overpower people. So this character immediately makes a move action followed by a strike action, attack action. So you can only use it on the basic strike, unlike a normal charge where you could use any of your attacks available to you. However, if this attack action deals at least 1 damage, the target character gains the stagger special condition. This superpower can be used only once per turn. Those of you who don't know, stagger happens to be really good. So it's a pretty useful superpower. Not only does it get him across the field and give him a free attack action, it also delivers stagger where you need it. I don't know, I like it. Pagani can disagree, but I think it's pretty good.
I think it's phenomenal myself. It's probably my favorite thing on his card.
Your favorite thing on the card? Wow.
That or God of Thunder.
Okay. I mean, they're both very good. Last active superpower that we have for Thor is Strongest Avenger. Choose an interactive terrain feature or an enemy character, both of size 4 or less, and within range 2, and throw it medium. This superpower can be used only once per turn, and it costs 3 power. So Thor is able to throw all the big things as well. Obviously, his strike allows him to throw characters around just by using his attacks. This allows him to pick up garbage trucks and all the fun terrain features that you might want and just hurl them around at other characters. And of course, he has flight because the God of Thunder flies. So that is his healthy side. If we flip to his injured side, the biggest change you're going to notice, and the only change you're going to notice, is that his stamina goes from 6 to 8. So you might be able to knock Thor down once. Knocking him down the second time is rather difficult.
He gets more resolute.
More resolute. He definitely, when Thor gets beat up, that's when he really gets into the fight. So you've got 8 stamina on the injured side. Combine that with Odin's Blessing, which you're probably going to wind up using on Thor if you're playing Asgard. He's a baller. He's really hard to take down, and he hits super hard.
So I've got to call you out here, Shay.
Oh, yeah, do it.
12 small squares in chat also says that his cloak gets tattered when he becomes injured.
That's fair. It does.
It's not just
I think it's on. It is on the illustration even. His cloak gets tattered. It's fair. I'm expecting 12s to do this on his actual miniature. We're gonna need 2 miniatures from you. I'm gonna need to see pictures.
I'm totally cool with this.
Tattered cloak.
This sounds lovely.
So that is our Thor and Valkyrie box. Great characters, super fun. Obviously Thor is an Avenger as well, so he benefits from all of that sweet Captain America love as well. If you want to take him in that. Asgard Affiliation though, pretty amazing. We're gonna take a look at the rest of the current Affiliation members right now. So we've got Loki and Hela, and I'll admit I like Thor and I really like Valkyrie. I think they're great characters, but Loki to me, he's the superstar in this set. I don't care what anybody else thinks. He's all I wanted. I'm so excited for Loki because he's just a phenomenal character in the comics. Super interesting. I love the fact that they took a poll and they were like, is Loki a hero or villain? And the results broke 50-50. I don't care if they cheated to make that happen. It had to happen that way. So just fantastic. Back of the box, also very exciting. There's some text about Loki and Hela. All right, we'll get to the inside. So again, we'll start off with the plastic frames. Astute observers will notice that you get 2 different base frames in this set because Loki, our man, is on a 35. So you'll get a selection of 35 mil bases. And then Hela is on a 50 mil base. So she's got a bit more presence on the table due to all of her craziness. It's the Loki frame. So here's our fantastic Loki. Looking really dapper and cool. We took a lot of nods from his costume, from his more modern appearances in the new Avengers run, the modern Thor. So we kind of lost. He's got smaller horns, not the big bendy horns. He's got the smaller horns. Of course, he's got his classic staff, his iconic staff. And he's got the shorter cloak, kind of the coat version rather than the big long cloak or the kind of the jumper that he used to wear as well. Just really, I love the look of the modern day Loki, so that's kind of what we went with. It's a lot of fun to play with, and it makes a really cool miniature. And we have Hela, Goddess of Death. So we really wanted to kind of emphasize the aggressiveness of Hela, that idea that she's coming for your soul. She's going to murder you. So she's got this great forward pose. We wanted to really get the magical elements in there. So you've got all the smoke, you've got the magic going on, swirling, broiling about her. Kind of that ethereal, ghostly type appearance where you can just imagine the souls of the dead kind of winding around her. Really happy with how this sculpt turned out. I will admit, at the time, I had questions, but Dallas was correct. He was right. It's on tape now. He wins. Okay, let's go to the tactic cards. So there's no crisis card in this set. There are just tactic cards, and there might happen to be a little card called an Infinity Gem, and we'll talk about those as well here in a moment. So the first of the 2 tactic cards, we have Doomed Prophecy and Sibling Rivalry. Whoop, get the glare off of those. Let's talk about Sibling Rivalry first. So Sibling Rivalry is unaffiliated. It is an active card. If Thor, Prince of Asgard, is within range 2 of an allied Loki, God of Mischief, both characters may spend 1 power to play this card. Throw the allied Loki, God of Mischief, medium. Loki, God of Mischief, does not suffer collision damage during this throw. Enemy characters that he collides with roll 2 fewer dodge dice and suffer the staggered special condition. This card is crazy good when you see it happen. It's throws are pretty devastating to begin with. When you take away 2 dodge dice and give the character stagger,
it's hilarious.
It's honestly ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So, and I just love poor Loki's expression. He's just man, this again. And Thor's just so happy with himself. He's yeah, this is great. And Green Goblin's what just happened? I don't even know. This is not what I signed up for. This is the worst. So Sibling Rivalry, if you're going to play Thor and Loki, you definitely want to take Sibling Rivalry. And there's a lot of really great combinations to pull it off and just have it be absolutely devastating, drop off and all that stuff. It's it's pretty cool. So our next card, a team tactic card, is Doomed Prophecy. So Doomed Prophecy is unaffiliated and it is reactive. This one says, at the start of the activation phase, any allied character may spend 3 power to play this card. This character cannot roll defense dice against physical attacks. Additionally, this character adds dice to its physical attacks equal to its physical defense until the beginning of their next activation. So for those playing the home game, if Thor plays this card, you're going to wind up with 10 dice on his physical attack strike, 9 dice on his hammer throw, and he's just going to have a defense stat of 0 against physical. That's probably not so bad. No, it's really bad.
It's pretty bad.
But when you really need to get the job done and you need your beater to go in there and really beat extra hard, Doomed Prophecy is the way to do it. And you play it at the start of the round, so you definitely want to make sure that you have priority. Don't play it and then give your opponent the chance to just wail on your poor Doomed Prophecy person. That's bad. It doesn't turn out well. But this card is really kind of drawn from, again, the mythology or the storyline of Fear itself, where Thor has been prophesized to defeat the serpent, but at the cost of his own life. So we really wanted to play with that with the Asgardian kind of set and have that as a fun little thing. I'm going to go to the Infinity Gems last, I think.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Yeah. So take a look at the token sheet before we get to the character sheets. So again, we have some more Asgardian like general tokens that you can use to mark any statuses you want. We have some dead Viking souls, some soul tokens, if you will. You can guess that Hela's probably going to wind up using those. We also have slow, this is the first instance of slow as well, right? A lot of firsts when it comes to status tokens. So this is the slow status. For those who might not remember or need a refresher, the slow special condition simply says that no matter what your speed is, as long as you have the slow condition, you can only use the short movement tool for advancing. So you lose a whole lot of the doors like slowly opening. Sure, you can put them down. Dallas just brought me a Thor and a Valkyrie. Are these yours or are these the... Oh, I really hope they're yours now.
It's mine.
Okay. You didn't see it on camera, but Dallas started to set down Thor and Valkyrie and he just dropped Valkyrie and she bounced off the table. Woo! All right, I'm verklempt. I got the vapors now.
The painted ones.
I got the vapors. Oh, okay. Hold on. I gotta regain my composure after that terrifying moment. I was for sure that her swords were going to go in 2 different directions and we'd never find them. Okay, let's start. Okay, back to it. Professional composure, folks. So let's start with Hela, Queen of Hell. So we have stamina 6, movement speed of medium. She is size 2, and she has threat cost 4. Her defenses, though, are very respectable at a 4 physical, 4 energy, and 4 mystic. Her first attack is Hellforged Blade. This is a physical attack. It is range 2. It is strength 5 and has a power cost of 0. After this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt, of course. It also has Wild Bleed, so after this attack is resolved, the target character gains the Bleed special condition. Bleed's really great. Again, if you've played the game at all, you've seen how effective plinking people for that 1 damage or forcing them to lose an action to get rid of it can be, and Hela can just parse that out pretty easily.
And that bleed's going to become pretty relevant.
Oh yeah. There's some things down here that really matter with the bleed. There might be a little synergy going on with that. Her second attack, probably the attack you're going to see most out of her based on my experience. It's a mystic attack called Claim Soul. So it's range 4, it's strength 6, and it's power cost 2. And remember, as an Asgardian, she's going to be gaining 2 power a turn or a round. So she's always going to be able to play or to use Claim Soul at least once during her activation. And mystic attacks are always pretty potent. Most characters don't do well against mystic attacks. Like your Captain Americas, your Black Panthers, they don't particularly hold up super well because their abilities don't work on those attacks. That said, if this attack deals damage after the attack is resolved, this character gains 1 captured soul tokens. And those were our dead Viking tokens that you saw a moment ago. We'll talk about why those are so cool to have on Hela as we get to her superpowers. Her third attack is Reign of Hell. This is a range 3, strength 7, power 4 attack. If the target character has the bleed special condition, it does not count wild results as successes when defending against this attack. So Hela's big plays, you bleed your target and then you Reign of Hell, and you just watch as they kind of fall apart. It also has Wild Explosive. Before damage is dealt, other enemy characters within range 2 of the target character suffer 1 damage. So anybody who really loves homing rockets on Iron Man already knows how effective explosive can be in terms of clearing out enemies without having to really worry about rolling against their defenses. So Rain of Hell, really powerful, obviously much more powerful once you bleed your target. Her first active ability is Army of Hell. This superpower has a cost of 0. Discard 1 to 3 captured soul tokens. During the next attack made by this character this turn, add 1 die to its attack roll for each captured soul token that was discarded. If a captured soul token was discarded after the attack is resolved, the target character gains the bleed special condition. This superpower can be used only once per turn. So, if once you get all of the captured souls on you, which you'll notice from Goddess of Death when we get to it, she's allowed to have 3 on her at any one time. You can basically bump the strength of any of your attacks up by 3. So Rain of Hell suddenly becomes strength 10. Hellforged Blades becomes an extremely respectable strength 8. And even Claim Soul can become a 9, which just guarantees that you're going to deal damage with it. You're going to get that soul back. So a really huge kind of economy that she's playing with outside of just the power generation itself. She's an Asgardian like we talked about, so she's going to get an additional power during the power phase. And last but not least, she has an innate power called Goddess of Death. When another character is dazed or KO'd, this character gains a captured soul token. This character may have a maximum of 3 captured soul tokens at any time. So as anybody, allied or enemy, is dazed or KO'd during the game, you're going to wind up getting soul tokens on Hela, up to a max of 3. You're then going to spend those soul tokens to boost all of your attacks with Army of Hell, and you're going to rinse and repeat until everybody is basically dead, and, Hela's triumphant because she's the Queen of Hell.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. But let's flip over to her injured side. Now, this character actually has a couple of really noticeable differences on her injured side that are very important. So you'll notice that her stamina goes down to 4, which is not the best. It's pretty low. Her defenses, her attacks all remain the same. Her superpowers are all the same as well. She does pick up a new superpower, and this is what we really should focus on. So stamina 4, again, not the highest stamina value in the game, but when you factor it in with Queen of Hell, which is a reactive superpower that she picks up on her injured side, it starts to make a lot more sense. So Queen of Hell reads, if this character has 3 captured soul tokens, when it would be KO'd, you may use this superpower. Remove all damage and captured soul tokens from this character. It is not KO'd. So effectively, you cannot knock her out as long as she has 3 captured soul tokens on her. As long as she has 3 soul tokens on her, she's impervious to death because she is she's the Goddess of Death and the Queen of Hell. So she's not going anywhere. So you really have to either make sure that you can double tap her in order to get rid of the soul tokens before she can earn them back, and then quickly follow up by KOing her on the second round, or you run the risk of her building those soul tokens back up and just being a consistent threat. And again, this pairs really well with Odin's Blessing, because you can use an Odin's Blessing to stop yourself from taking damage that might knock you out before you can get those 3 soul tokens back. So a highly resilient character. And you're going to see that kind of theme repeated with the Asgardians. They're very powerful characters in terms of the strength of their attacks, the damage they deal, and they're also fairly resilient characters. They have ways of mitigating damage through tactic cards or abilities that allow them to stay in the fight much longer given their kind of godlike immortal status in the Marvel Universe. I think that's it. Anything else you want to cover? Pretty good?
I think you nailed it.
I think we nailed it. All right, so Hela complete. Now to my boy Loki, my special boy, my most favorite of favorites, Loki. All right, Loki, God of Mischief. He is stamina 5. He is a move medium. He is size 2 and he's threat 4. He has 3 physical defense, 3 energy defense, and he has a 4 mystic defense. So already he's a little less durable than the Asgardians. Astute readers will know that's because Loki is not actually an Asgardian by birth. He is actually a frost giant. So his kind of difference in stamina and stats and the way that he plays in the Asgardian team is reflective of that idea that this is not somebody who's born and bred Asgardian. He's still a god. He's God of Mischief. But he just has a different kind of style of play and a different way of doing things because of his different heritage. He does have a strike attack. It's range 2, strength 5, power cost 0. After this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. He has a pretty awesome second attack called Frost Blast. This is a beam 3, so you're going to lay down the range 3 template and potentially hit multiple characters with it. It's strength 4. It's energy. If this attack deals damage after the attack is resolved, the target character gains the slow special condition. So this can be really useful to slow down really fast characters, to force them to deal with that slow condition. And it's really great if your opponent clumps up. And it gets even better once we start talking about his super attacks, because strength 4 is not the best strength that you're ever going to see, but Loki has some ways around it with his superpowers. His last attack, probably my favorite attack, is the Mystic attack. It's called Illusions. So this is range 4, it's strength 6, and it's power cost 3. It's our first double trigger, and this is one of the things that we really talk about, we're going to talk about more and more as we get more into the Mystic characters. So one of the things we really wanted to do with the magic users, the people who control and kind of enact sorcery and wizardry and magic, was to kind of give them an element of spell control, of like hitting that proper ritual, of doing, you know, the whole hand motion and the conjunction all correct. So we kind of we use the trigger conditions to show this. And so with Mesmerize, if you roll 2 wilds, you will trigger the Mesmerize ability on Illusions. Mesmerize says, after this attack is resolved, you may advance the target character at speed. After the advance is resolved, all other characters within range 2 of the target suffer 1 damage. So this can be awesome for not only just moving a character its full speed any direction you want, but if you can move them towards a couple of allied characters, those characters are then going to take damage as well. And it's just kind of, it shows Loki kind of taking control of a character's mind, confusing them, fooling them into attacking their allies before they realize what they've done. It really plays with that whole idea of the trickster god that Loki is and his mastery over illusionary magic and somewhat mind control.
It's important to note that that will also hurt Loki's allies as well.
It will hurt all characters, so, but you know, that's a small price to pay. Thor's fine. He's got a lot of stamina. He's got 8 stamina. Yeah, he's fine. Right. He can take 1. Right. It's okay. First superpower is a reactive superpower. It is I am a god. It's power cost 2. Before rolling attack or defense dice, you may use this superpower. During this attack, this character adds blanks in its attack or defense rolls to total successes. So again, talking about, you know, the strength of 4 or even his kind of defense of 3, 3, 4. Adding blanks to your rolls is huge. Because that's it's huge. It just multiplies your successes greatly, gives you 2 extra successes. It's wild. Pagani would say it's pretty good, and he's the math guy.
That is true.
just the most in-depth and hard-hitting of commentary from the sidelines here.
I know, I'm really helping you out here.
I know, you've got my back. I can feel it. All right, so let's move to my favorite superpower on Loki. It is Trickster. This is another reactive superpower. It is power cost 3. When this character is targeted by an attack, you may use this superpower. This character makes a short advance. If at the end of this advance, this character is outside of the attack's range or the attacker's line of sight, the attack ends. If it is the attacker's activation and the attack did not target multiple characters, the attacker may make another action. This superpower can be used only once per turn. This is amazing for just setting up situations where Loki is like just in range and your opponent goes, okay, well, I'll target him. And you're like, no, I'm going to Trickster away, or Trickster into cover, or just Trickster to get closer to something so you can activate later and grab an objective or secure something. Like it has so many great uses, and it just makes your opponent think twice about what they want to do, to check their range. It feels so Loki. I love it. I just love it. I'm
a big fan of it, like pushing you into bodyguard range and stuff, and like doing all that kind of stuff, so that it's so much fun to play with, and how it interacts with objective tokens and stuff too. It's really, really fun.
Yeah, it's just like it really makes Loki so much more deceptively mobile and so much more resilient than he might otherwise be, because of this kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't ability on him. Of course, he's Asgardian. Despite being a frost giant, he grew up in Asgard. He has a lot of powers of the Asgardians. He is a god. So we gave him the Asgardian power as well. During the power phase, this character gains an additional power. It makes using I am a god very easy. Also means that using illusions is typically very easy to do as well, since you only need 1 additional power to pull it off. And then, of course, he has another innate power called God of Mischief. This is the one that Pagani told me I couldn't do, and then I made him do it anyway. Because it's just amazing.
I actually think it's the other side of the card that I said you couldn't do.
We did it anyway, though.
We did.
Well, within range 4 of this character, enemy characters must spend 1 power before using an active or reactive superpower. So this just kind of represents Loki being mischievous, locking people down with spells, tricks, all that stuff. And he can just shut down certain characters that really rely on using big superpowers over and over again. So you have to play around Loki. You have to like think about how you're going to deal with stuff. And again, this goes back to his kind of, we talked about survivability. This goes back to kind of how Loki's version of survivability works. He's not necessarily robust or with amazing defense or a lot of stamina, but he forces characters to spend more effort, to use more power, and has a couple of get out of jail free cards that he can use that make him last a lot longer than a character of similar stats might otherwise do without his suite of abilities. So we'll flip over to his injured side. Nothing really changes at all until we get to God of Mischief. So let's go right back to my favorite ability, because Pagani just shakes his head at it every time, even though he loves it. He takes Loki all the time because of this.
I do.
So God of Mischief, once he goes to his injured side, states, well within range 4 of this character, enemy characters must spend 1 power before using an active or reactive superpower. In big, bold letters. Additionally, well within range 4 of this character, enemy characters do not roll additional dice for critical results. So this is Loki's power kind of unchained. Like, he was having fun on his healthy side, and then he got beat up, and now he's really angry. He's done. He's done playing games. This is Loki Unleashed. So now not only are you not going to be able to use your superpowers as effectively, you're also not going to get any bonuses for crits while you're next to him. And again, this just transfers right back to what we were talking about survivability. And of course, it's a bigger benefit for Loki's team because range 4 is a fairly good distance. And it's obviously going to benefit people who are around him as well. And so this really just dives into that whole idea that Loki is just causing problems. He's not necessarily the strongest character, the most durable character, but he causes problems. He is a thorn in your side. He's truly the God of Mischief. And I love it. I love it so much. And this character is everything I could want and more.
Well, I'm glad we got there.
I know, see? I mean, we started there pretty much right from the start. We just had to fight about it a little bit. There's some discussions. There was some toning. But in the end, he's there. He's good. All right, so let's talk about his last innate power, which I kind of glossed over on his healthy side because I figured we'd dive into this now. He has an innate ability called Gem Bearer, Mind and Space. So for those of you who might have seen the article on comicbook.com, the Infinity Gems are coming to the game. They are coming as cards. The way that they generally work is that characters who have the innate superpower Gem Bearer can equip at the start of the game for the squad, as part of squad creation, one of the gems that are listed in their ability. So a character is typically limited to 1 Infinity Gem unless a rule allows them to take more. So at the start of squad building, if you have the Infinity Gem Mind or the Infinity Gem Space in your roster, and we'll talk about that in a second, Loki could attach it to himself by paying its threat cost as part of squad creation. Now, Infinity Gems aren't just cards that you get to have on the side in addition to your team tactic cards and your characters. We wanted to make sure that taking an Infinity Gem had a weight and had a consideration to it. So not only did we look at balancing the Infinity Gems by making sure that only certain characters could use them, kind of reflecting the idea that yes, in the Marvel Universe, in the comics, anybody can have possession of an Infinity Gem and use the gem, unlike in, say, the MCU where the rules are a bit different. However, not everybody's always running around with Infinity Gems. There are very specific kind of storylines and arcs of characters where they have possession of Infinity Gems. And so that was kind of the idea that we leaned into. So this version of Loki is one where he did have possession or could have had possession of the Infinity Gems. Thor, or for example, like the one I like is Captain America. He's used the full Infinity Gauntlet before in certain storylines. But the version of Captain America in the core box is not that version of Captain America. Maybe someday, way down the road, we see a Captain America who can use Infinity Gems or any other character. So it really allows us to kind of dive in and focus on these different characters and the time and the circumstances around them being able to use the gems. So for Loki, we have the Mind Gem and the Space Gem. Now, going back to kind of how they fit into your roster, a gem takes up a character slot. So normally you're allowed to take 10 characters, 18 tactic cards, and then you build your squad from that. Well, a gem will take up a character slot. So if you decide to take the Mind Gem, for instance, in your roster so Loki can equip it, you will only get to choose 9 other characters. And again, this kind of comes back to the fact that we didn't want the Infinity Gems to just be an afterthought or something that you always had access to. You have to purposely have a reason and a desire to take the gem. And in doing so, you have to give up certain other tactical flexibility. And this was all to make sure that the game remained fun, that list building and roster construction remained very active, and there was a lot of thought put into it, as well as making squad building kind of still strategic and very flexible and fluid, where you worked with what you brought to the table. Anything you want to add to that, Pagani?
Hold on to your butts. It's about to get crazy.
All right, so with that in mind, we'll flip over and we'll talk about how Infinity Gems kind of work in general. So every Infinity Gem has a threat value. This is what you're going to spend during squad building to be able to take it in your squad and equip it to a character that has the Gem Bearer ability. The Mind Gem is threat 1. So if you take it with Loki, Loki effectively becomes a threat 5 character.
That's actually an important distinction. He actually does become a threat 5 character.
He becomes a threat 5 character. So for things like your Usurp the Throne, where you're looking for the highest threat value character, that could matter. So it is a good distinction to kind of push out. Each Infinity Gem gives the character that has it equipped a superpower. So one that's not listed on the card and one that they can use. Another important bit is that if you're equipped with an Infinity Gem, you gain an additional power during the power phase for each gem you have equipped. So when Loki has the Mind Gem with him, or the Space Gem, depending on which one you choose, he gets to generate 3 power every power phase instead of 2, instead of 1, which all of a sudden makes Trickster automatic, which is pretty amazing. The other benefit that the Mind Gem gives you is the Mind Gem Superpower. This is a power cost of 2, and it says choose an enemy character within range 3 and advance it short. This superpower may be used only once per turn. So the idea being that the Mind Gem gives you control over the mental capacity and thoughts of the character of your choice. You can advance them short and basically ruin their day. So, it's pretty good. And of course, it's also giving you an extra power. So even though it has a power cost itself, it is giving you some of the power you need to be able to use the ability and as well power your other abilities. So a really exciting kind of addition to the roster building and list construction and squad creation for the games. You're going to see more Infinity Gems coming out, but the Mind is the very first one that comes out in the game with Loki and Hela, and Loki is our first gem bearer of the game.
We do have a question from chat. Can he equip both the Mind Gem and the Space Gem?
Not at the same time. You are limited to 1 Infinity Gem equipped on you at a time, unless you have a rule that says otherwise. And I'm sure everyone can guess where that rule probably shows up. So yes, a normal character like Loki, Corvus Glaive, and Proxima Midnight also have Infinity Gems in their box. Those characters that have the Infinity Gems, they're only able to take 1 of the options. Certain characters only have 1 choice. Some characters have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You just never know.
But not 7.
But not 7. No one has 7 yet. That'd be weird. But yeah, so that's the basic general, like how Infinity Gems work. The rules are included for Infinity Gems on the insert that comes with Loki and Hela. So you'll have all of the rules right there. We'll also be updating the core rules online when these characters release in February. Here they are. Look at the fancy rules. Yes, this is how they work. We'll also be updating the core rules to be fully inclusive of these new rules for Infinity Gems in February, right before these characters release. Yeah, so that's everything that's coming for the Asgard Affiliation. Super awesome characters that you can look forward to using in all of your awesome games. I suppose I should do this since Dallas did throw a Valkyrie on the ground. So let's see, can we get it to focus? Is that focused?
Yeah, but you got a tilter.
Tilter like that? How's that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So this is Dallas's Valkyrie that he painted just recently. Super fun miniature to paint. She's so swole. Like her arms are huge. It's great. She looks every bit the powerful warrior that she is in the comics. And here, of course, is Thor. That focus in. We got it. Maybe. I can't tell from here.
That's good.
We're good? All right. If it's blurry, that's because Dallas painted it blurry. Should we tell people that?
Yeah.
It's not the camera. It's literally just the thing. And you can see just how huge Thor is. He's big. He's a big boy.
I think we need to get a Captain America in here for scale.
I don't have a Captain America.
Well,
though.
maybe next stream.
Maybe next stream. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this epic unboxing of Thor, Valkyrie, and Loki and Hela coming next month in February. as the expected release date. Be sure to tune in next week as we do more cool stuff with Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'm not entirely sure if we're going to wind up playing a game with these characters or if we're going to wind up doing some hobbying with them. We'll find out. Be sure to tune in to our social media to find out more about what to expect from Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Of course, all the latest and greatest Atomic Mass games and Marvel Crisis Protocol news is also available on all of our social media and our website, atomicmassgames.com. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Hope you're as excited as I am to get these characters on the table, have them painted up. They're just so much fun to paint. Loved every minute of it. And to expand your roster of options with Marvel Crisis Protocol. With Asgard, Thor, Valkyrie, Loki, Hela, and of course Vision and Winter Soldier will also be releasing next month. We showed off Vision in a previous live stream during a game that Josh and I played. Had a lot of fun with that. Winter Soldier is coming, and also another one. I think that was Pagani's favorite for like months. That was his boy forever.
He's still my boy.
He's still your boy?
Don't talk bad
Oh,
him.
I thought we had moved on. Apparently we hadn't.
I will never move on.
Never move on. All right, so Winter Soldier. Be looking forward to previews of that. I don't even think you were talking to the right mic, were you?
I was not.
Yeah, good. All right, perfect. So we're looking forward to that. I don't know where Josh will decide to show that off for you guys, but I bet it'll be a lot of fun. Otherwise, February is going to be a great month for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Be sure to tune back in. Check out all of our social media. Thank you so much for joining us. Hit us up. We'd love to see what you're doing. And we will see you next Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific. Goodbye.